Hello, my name is Allison Carr. I teach 5th grade at Claxton Elementary School, and I'm really excited to get to show you some of the basic features of Google Classroom, how to set it up, how to create topics and organize assignments, and then how to grade and create rubrics for those assignments. So if you feel like you need to take any kind of notes, here's kind of the setup that we'll be following. And if you will follow me to how to actually access Google Classroom, you'll want to start on the Google homepage. A lot of you will already be logged in. I'm already logged in as myself, but you'll click on this little box here in the corner with the different little tabs, and you'll scroll down to Classroom. You'll notice in my Google Classroom I have social studies and then the spring PDs, but we're actually going to go through how to create your own classroom. So what you need to do is go up here to this corner and hit the Add button. It says Create or Join a Class. We're going to create a class today. So I'm going to call mine Miss Carr's, if I can spell it correctly, 5th grade. And I'm going to say Section A because we're going to be departmentalized. And let's make this an ELA classroom. Hit Create. Once you've let it load and create, it should take you to a page where you're going to get to set up what the classroom's actually going to look like. So let's select a theme. And since this is English Lit, I'm going to pick this one right here. So for students to actually join this class, you're going to go over here to the corner and hit what's called the class code. You can go to your Google Classroom at the start of the year and project this code onto your projector. So your students will go in and they will receive an email from you and enter this code in. So let's model how to add some students. So let's go to People at the top and click on Add or Invite Students. I'm going to use a sample student here and invite her. I've actually got her signed in on my computer off screen, so let me go ahead and sign her in so that way we can see, we can use her as a model student. So on her computer, she will actually receive a link and she'll go in on the email and hit join. All right, so now that student should be added to our Google Classroom. So let's go up here to classwork. So this is going to be your home base for creating topics and assignments. I would advise creating your topics first. Those are going to be like, especially in ELA, those will be like your modules. In math, they might be your modules or they might be your topics. It depends on how you want to set that up. So I'm going to create a topic and let's just call it Module 1. And within Module 1, I can then go and create an assignment. So this assignment, let's call it Sample 1. And then for the instructions, students, I like to put I can statements in here, or things that students will be able to complete at the end of the assignment. Students will be able to. And then I like to include the instructions. Over here in this corner, you can assign point values. You can have anywhere from a scale of 1 to 100. You can leave it graded, or you can select this ungraded option. You can also select students that you would like to assign this thing to. So if you want to differentiate it and only give this to part of your class, you can make that designation here. You can also decide if you want to drop this into a different Google Classroom. This is where you would assign the due date. We'll say that this is due tomorrow. Let's hope I don't stress this student out if she checks her Google Classroom tomorrow. And then we'll assign it to Module 1. Now this down here is a rubric for this assignment, and we can create a rubric or reuse a rubric from a past assignment. You can also import one from Sheets if you have made any kind of rubrics previously. To create a rubric, you will click on that sample on that button, and then go to the criterion title and type in whatever it is that you would want. Let's say style for this one. Students use proper syntax and grammar throughout. If I can spell grammar correctly. Instead of being 1 point, let's make this like the top category, 4 points. And then you would just go from there. You can add as many designators as you would like. You can also add as many criterion as you'd like, and then you just hit save up here in the corner. In terms of adding content for your students, you hit the add button and you can add things from your Google Drive. You can also link YouTube or any kind of instructional content that you found online. You can upload files from your personal computer if you've got a USB jump drive and you've got preferences. You can also add YouTube links directly from YouTube if you so choose. Under Create, this is where you can create different ways for students to submit their work. And this is actually a really wonderful feature. It helps keep everything your students do organized. So let's say that for this sample assignment, students are going to have to submit some kind of essay. So when we create that document, it's going to send us to an untitled Google Doc. So let's call this Sample 1 Essay. All right, so this is now the document that is attached to our assignment in another tab. All right, over here, if we flip back to Google Classroom, you'll notice this drop-down menu next to Untitled Document. This will update to the title that you named this document. It will not stay untitled after you save it or after you assign it. So let's go to this drop-down menu and select what it is that students can do. Because you can create content in Google Docs and say that only students can view it. Let's say it's an instructions page or a reading you want them to do. You can have students edit this file if you want maybe a group to work collaboratively on an assignment, or you can select this make a copy for each student. This is my personal favorite because what it does is when a student accesses this file on their Google Classroom, what they're going to see is their name dash and then whatever the name of that assignment is. So when they turn it in, you don't have to give them special instructions to label a Google Doc and share it with you. When they turn it in, you see automatically who that assignment belongs to. In case you're wondering, over here in the corner, we also have this originality reports. I'll go into more detail on what this is in a later video, but if it's a true essay, especially in 4th and 5th grade, it checks for plagiarism, and we'll compare it to things on the internet and, of course, their classmates' assignments. And it's really, it can be incredibly helpful if you've got friends that like to copy things from Google. So let's go ahead and assign this. As it assigns, I'm going to go to my students account over here. If we click on it, you can see that it says Sample 1 Essay. It updated the title. I'm going to go to my student accounts and I'm going to submit a sample, and then we're going to go over how we can grade these once they are submitted. All right, so our friend has turned in an assignment. So let's go over to classwork, and it says one person has turned this in. So we'll click on that and we'll click on her sample that she's turned in. I didn't type anything, it's a blank document. But what I'm trying to show is this right here. So you have the name here in the corner, and then you get to assign the grade. Over here, if she had written something, you would be able to highlight and add private comments. So let's say you had a fabulous topic sentence. You can post that. You can also, when you go to enter the grade in, you can hit return. Let's see. and the student will be notified that I've left the grade and that I've put a grade on there, and they'll be able to go back and look at the comments that I've given. This is really helpful. Students can keep up with their own work. They can keep up with their grades. It's a really great way for them to see, especially if they decide not to do an assignment, how that 0 can affect their overall grade. So going back to our page, another really wonderful feature, and this might fall under advanced, but especially for younger grades, I think that this is important. If we go to people, you'll notice this little link here where it says invite guardians. With these assignments, you can invite parents to not really view your Google Classroom, but they get an alert at the end of the week on what assignments their student still needs to complete, what assignments are up and coming. It gives parents a way, if they choose, to kind of see what's happening within your classroom and your students' progress in that classroom. So that's a really great feature. But moving on to grades, you'll notice for yourself it's really helpful because her grade is listed right here, and it will average by class, and then it will average by student also. You'll be able to see her turned in assignments, her returned work, her missing assignments, and of course her overall grade. I've only got the one assignment, so it's not showing an average, but if you had more than one, it would show you the average. So these are kind of the basics of Google Classroom. In a later video, I'll go over how to set up the maybe non-standard types of assignments, so maybe Google Forms, Google Sheets, Jampad, things like that. But for right now, this is how you just set up a basic Google Docs assignment in a Google Classroom. So thank you for watching.